one of my very, very favorite readings. It's by Marianne Williamson. Many people associate it with Nelson Mandela, but it was actually written by Marianne. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant or gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
This is from the poet Rumi. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. If you are irritated by every rub, how will your mirror be polished? Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there.
This is from Joseph Campbell.
Hold the mic up.
This is from Joseph Campbell. It is by going down into the abyss that we recover the treasures of life. Where you stumble, there lies your treasure. Opportunities to find deeper powers within ourselves come when life seems most challenging. The big question is whether you are going to be able to say a hearty yes to your adventure. The privilege of a lifetime is being who you are.
And these are from Pema Chodron. Feelings like disappointment, embarrassment, irritation, resentment, anger, jealousy, and fear, instead of being bad news, are actually very clear moments that teach us where it is we're holding back. They teach us to perk up and lean in when we feel we'd rather collapse and back away. They're like messengers that show us with terrifying clarity exactly where we're stuck. This very moment is the perfect teacher, and lucky for us, it's with us wherever we are. When you begin to touch your heart or let your heart be touched, you begin to discover that it's bottomless, that it doesn't have any resolution, that this heart is huge, vast, and limitless. You begin to discover how much warmth and gentleness is there, as well as how much space. Fear is a natural reaction to moving closer to the truth. Never give up on ourselves, then you will not give up on others.
Thank you. Those beautiful words. You ever hear quotes like that and get a little bit of a ring, 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 ring inside yourself? I love that feeling. Michelle's going to be talking today about fierce compassion. When she was sharing with me her topic and what it meant a little bit to her, she was talking about compassion even for our shadows, for the darker parts of ourselves that we want to shrink from or run from. And so as I sat with that idea of meeting those darker, shadowy places with the hug, the embrace of the mother, of the loving part of ourselves, for some reason one of the actions that came to heart thinking about that was the action of grieving. And that to allow oneself to grieve and enter grieving energy, the releasing of deep loss or emotion, is actually an act of fierce compassion toward ourselves when we give ourselves a little space. Sometimes it's easy to put the positive spin even on our heartache and heartbreak. But to allow that heart to break open and the tears to fall is actually an act of fierce compassion. So this song comes from Georgia in Eastern Europe, and I'll let Megan tell you a little bit about what it means for this mother in the song and her grief.
So when we speak of Georgia, we're talking about Caucasus, Georgia. And I'm playing a panduri. This is a folk instrument from that region. This is a song sung by a mother who is mourning the loss of her son, who took the shield and sword off the wall and went off to war and died. And she is in that, deep moment of grief and envisioning sending off his horse bareback into the forest in hopes that he might come home with him on it. Too loud? It's so no, that's the judge. It's so is it better for you? That sounds way too loud.
Too loud.
Deda mogik fdasa Chamashwila dedai Deda hitada Shenada visa dedai Deda hitada Shenata visadedai Shvila sitkatstire Gordaid nabadi Anashosita gasitsire Bekt mi Back to me, Shvila missions hensa Shauna gizeda Havira shavakari Kevela da bushvema
Well, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay? I'm so excited to be here. Again, my name is Michelle Arellano, and I am honored to be a part of this community. I moved to Ashland, actually a few weeks ago, moved to Talent at the end of April from Southern California. And so it's been a wild ride. And I looked for a spiritual home when I got here and checked out a few different areas. And when I came here, I felt like I was home. And listening to Norma go deep and wide and seeing her passion and feeling the love and the light from everybody here really touched my heart and knew I wanted to be a part of this community. So I'm so honored to be up here with you today and to be talking about fierce compassion. It's definitely a part of my life right now. I think this talk came through me and it's moving through me. And your music was just so incredibly beautiful. It felt like it took me on a journey. I don't know where I went, but I went somewhere. And, you know, just where I'm at in life, I feel so incredibly blessed to be here. And also, there's so many changes, so many things happening that I'm feeling all of it right now. And with that, there is this fierceness about dedicating myself to continuing to be awake through it all and continuing to be compassionate with myself and continuing to be passionate with others. For me, as I started on the spiritual journey, it was after I was divorced and I was about 28 years old, and really my aha moment, I was journaling, and I played quite the victim for quite a few years in my life. And as I was journaling, I was asking, how can I be happy? And what came through me was that my happiness was up to me. And that was a huge aha moment for me. It was a huge moment to know that I was responsible for my happiness. And that really started me on my journey. And then moving on my journey, I really worked to look at myself, but I always worked to also stay towards the light. So I really liked and resonated with the light and the positive. And that was wonderful, and I did that for quite a few years. The only part was that there was so much more going on that I had put blinders on to. So it would grow so much, but then I would hit walls because I didn't want to see it. You know, I didn't want to see some of those challenges. And then oh my gosh, there's so many great mystics. I mean, thank you for your readings this morning. I mean, talk about Rumi and Joseph Campbell and Pema. I mean, they delve into all of it. And they teach and they show us ways to embrace all of it and have been great teachers to me. A quote from Pema is, "Without loving kindness of ourselves, it is difficult, if not impossible, to genuinely feel it for others." And from Buddha, "If your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete." And so as I was going on this journey, and I was so positive and wanted everybody to be positive, I was missing out. And so I was trying to be kind and compassionate and caring, but again, I could only go so far. And I kept feeling like I was falling short because challenges would come into my life. And I thought, well, aren't I doing this right? Why do I have challenges? And there was something, a part of me, and I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but I thought once I tackled something in my life that it was good. I didn't really need to tackle it again. But I'm finding out more and more that it's an evolutionary process. It's an unfolding. It's like an onion. And it's the layers. And, some of the stuff that I've worked on, for 20 years, still, it's layers of healing, and they're my teachers. And so the more I'm able to start embracing them, the more I'm able to start embracing myself. Another one from Pema is, finding the courage to go to places that scare us cannot happen without compassionate inquiry into the workings of our ego. Openness doesn't come from resisting our fears, but from getting to know them well. And so what I've realized is that as I've looked at these things, it's been some of the hardest work I've done in my life that's brought me to my knees, that's brought me to my core, and look at some of the stuff that scares me, because in thinking about it, those are the things that I ran from. Those are the things that I suppressed. Those became my shadow. Those became my subconscious because I didn't want to look at them. And so all of a sudden, stopping and turning around and looking at myself naked, just raw, just everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, was huge for me. And just like the mystics that we were talking about today, I've had some amazing teachers come into my life and support me and encourage me and hold me up, to help me and to really get me in a place that I can sit still long enough to look at all of me. And I am so thankful for that. I really feel in community like we're in now, that we're the bridge for each other. That we're there for each other, that we provide that. One of us goes through it and helps another one, kind of like the Buddha saying, where you go over the wall and you help the others over the wall to that state of beauty and bliss. And so I'm so incredibly grateful for that. Another quote from Pema is, the most fundamental aggression to ourselves, the most fundamental harm we can do to ourselves is to remain ignorant by not having the courage and the respect to look at ourselves honestly and gently. And that gentle part was a big piece for me too. Because I have this tendency about me that wants things to be just right, and I want to do it just right, and I want you to like me, and I want everything to go just perfectly, and that just doesn't really serve me very well. And that was another thing that as I was going into ministry, is that I was thinking, as I was in school, that I had this amazing vision about myself. And in this vision, like, I had people there, and there was this warmth, and there was these aha moments, and I was really in the divine power, in the divine light. And it was the most incredible, elated feeling. And then the next day, I just felt crushed, because I felt that person, like I had to become that person. And I had no idea how to become that perfect person, because Michelle is quirky and kind of goofy, and I don't always say the most perfect words, and my eyes leak a lot because my heart overflows. And so, and if you see me leaking a little, you'll know my heart's overflowing today. And so, I was really kind of struggling with that and tackling with that. And as I was doing that, I was trying to figure out how to become this person. And thank goodness I was at a retreat, so I had that loving support again. And I went into meditation. And when I went into meditation the next day and just really got centered and quiet, what I heard is that person's you. You don't have to become anybody. That all of that is you. Everything up to this point is right and perfect to serve your purpose. And it's not about being perfect, and it's not about this outside stuff. It's about what's going on inside. So Pema has been an incredible teacher for me. Pema Chodron, and I'll tell you a little bit about her. She is a beloved Buddhist teacher, an author, a nun, and a mother. Pema has inspired millions of people from around the world who have been touched by her example and message of practicing peace in these turbulent times. The Pema Chodron Foundation is dedicated to preserving and sharing Pema's inspiration and teachings in order that they might help us all awaken wisdom and compassion in ourselves and the world around us. She has been an amazing teacher to me, helping me have more compassion for me, because in order for me to delve into these scary areas, I've got to have compassion and love for myself, and allowing this to be all of me, and that's what's beautiful about Pema. And I think for a lot of us, those lessons that we have that keep popping up sometimes, is having compassion for those lessons and not being hard on ourselves. And I love what Thich Nhat Hanh says about it, is when those things pop up that kind of rub us the wrong way, he says to love it. Say, oh, there you are, you're there to teach me something. Put a hug around it and say, what are you here to teach me? How am I to learn more from this? And Pema has this sense of humor about her. If you listen to her talks, that it's just, it lightens it all. It makes it not seem like that big of a deal. And as I work on me and as we work on ourselves, humor to me is probably one of the best spiritual practices that I have, is to see how quirky I am and how I could get obsessive about things sometimes, and just to laugh about it sometimes and just to let it be whatever it is. And then to know too, when things snag me in life, kind of take me in a direction that doesn't feel so good, is that I can have compassion for myself that yes, it snagged me, but it didn't last 3 days. It lasted 15 minutes, or it lasted 20 minutes. And to be proud of myself for the progress that I made. And Pema is pretty amazing about really to have that kind of compassion for ourselves and for others. And one of the things that really, along all of these lines, that gets me to think about is my self-talk. And I feel like, these years of working on myself, that it's gotten better. It's gotten a lot better. I'm not nearly as harsh on myself as I used to be, but I still have a ways to go. And that's something that it's a good reminder for me, and I think a lot of us could relate to this, is that sometimes the way that we talk to ourselves, we wouldn't allow anybody else to talk to us that way. So for us to really think about, how we allow ourselves to talk to ourselves, and what that sounds like, and how to have compassion for ourselves, and to love ourselves like we love our loved ones. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to take you into a meditation, a brief meditation. A little background music. Thank you. Okay, so if you could all just kind of relax into your seats and feel yourself, feel the presence in the room, the beautiful readings and music, and just the energy of everybody that's here today. Sit comfortably, relaxed, your eyes partially open or closed. Take a deep breath and settle your body. Take a few other breaths just to really feel the air coming in. One of the things that Reverend Michael Beckett talks about is when you breathe, you can't be in the future or the past. When you breathe, you're in the moment. So as you take a few breaths, really feel yourself in the moment. Bring to mind a person or another living being who naturally makes you smile. This could be a child, grandmother, cat, dog, whatever naturally brings you happiness in your heart. It could be a place, it could be a person, it could be somebody that was in your past. Let yourself feel what it is like to be in that person's presence. Imagine yourself with that person that brings you great joy. intensity of healthiness. And may you live with ease. Be with ease. If you notice that your mind has wandered, return to the words and the feelings and the energy. Savor any warm feelings that may arise inside of you. Allow your heart to feel it. Now add yourself to the circle. Put your hand on your heart, feel your heart space, feel the warmth of your hand, and say, may you and I be safe. Inside, feel safety. May you and I be peaceful. May you and I be healthy. And may you and I live with ease. Now visualize your whole body in your mind's eye. Notice any stress or uneasiness that may be lingering within you. And offer kindness to yourself. Now inside, may I be safe. Say to yourself, may I be peaceful. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh. Okay, so another quote from Pema. The only reason we don't open our hearts and minds to other people is that they trigger confusion in us that we don't feel brave enough or sane enough to deal with. Some people might be able to relate to that. To the degree that we look clearly and compassionately at ourselves, we feel confident and fearless about looking into someone else's eyes. That one just gives me chills. So being on this journey, a lot of times for me, and I'm hoping when I share stories about me, you can relate to stories about you, since we are all so one, is for me so much was going the wrong direction. I always kind of wanted to find the shortcut, but that never really served me too much. And as I kept looking for just the positive and not really feeling all of life, I can kind of see how it all weaved back perfectly into where I am today. Because a big part of that stage for me, one of the, Reverend Michael Beckwith from Agape is another one of my favorites, and I just love that place. It's a real celebration of spirit in Culver City, and based on unconditional love. And he has an incredible visioning process that so many of us, I think, have utilized. But what he talks about through that is our stages of evolution. And so our first stage is victimhood, which I can relate to. Our second stage is manifesting, which I can relate to that as well. And the third stage is spirit through us. And then the fourth stage is spirit as us. And a lot of times we move between the four stages as we continue to evolve in this lifetime. And hopefully I'm not hanging out as much in victimhood as I used to. But that manifesting stage for me during my positive years, or just wanting to see positive, I don't know that they were totally positive years, but I wanted to share a quick story with you about manifesting that just kind of brings it all together about how powerful we are and how powerful our light is. So I went to Agape, and I would try to go. I'd have to drive usually about an hour and a half to get there from where I lived, and I would go at least once a month. And a lot of times, I'm a little crazy, I would go to the early bird service, and so I'd get up like at 3:30 in the morning, I'd go, and then I was real involved with the CSL in Temecula, so I'd go to the Agape service, get all high on Agape, and then I would go back to the service in Temecula and be a part of that service. So, but the choir there, I don't know if you've ever heard the Agape choir. It's an international choir, and it's just off the charts. I mean, it's just this powerful, vibrant celebration with this most beautiful music and this diversity and this soulfulness that is just, like I can't sit still when I listen to them. I couldn't sit still listening to you either. And so, I just thought, oh my gosh, like, it would be so amazing if I could sing with this choir. Like, this is a dream of mine. If I could be up there with this choir. First of all, I can't really sing. Second of all, you've got to volunteer at Agape to be a part of the choir for a while. And I lived an hour and a half away. So I thought, I'm just gonna vibrate with this and see what happens. I'm just gonna allow Spirit to bring it into my life. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I'm just gonna listen to this choir and know at some point in time, I'm gonna somehow be a part of it. And so, and then I just let it go to the universe. And so I went on a meditation retreat with Reverend Michael. And a lot of times, Ricky Byer Beckwith is his wife, and a lot of times she creates songs on the retreat. And so, which is a part of the energy of all of us on the retreat together. And so she created a song. And it was beautiful. It was like to see the best of me, the best of you, the best of everything. And it just was this real, kind of similar to the meditation that we did. And so the meditators, they had special seating for us that day, on that Sunday. And so guess where we were? We were sitting in the choir chambers. So we were sitting up behind Reverend Michael Beckwith. And I want to be right there in the center of all the action, but I know that I don't want to hug everything. So I thought, I'm going to sit in front but to the side a little bit. And as more people were coming, they kind of scooted me over. So I was like front center. And so I'm like, okay, it must be meant to be. And so Ricky started singing the song. And Reverend Michael looked over to us and said, you know the song, stand up and start singing it. And so I'm like, yeah. So and then all of a sudden, my heart's overflowing from the meditation retreat. I'm in such a place of love and bliss that I just start singing. I don't know how I sound, but I just start singing. And I feel like spirit that is coming through me. So as I stand up and start singing, everybody starts standing up, and then I start, and there's, 1,000 people there. I step out and go like this to the crowd. I don't even know what I'm doing, really. I'm just doing it. I am so in the moment of love and bliss and peace. Everybody starts standing up and singing a song. And I don't realize, and I am just in such a place of unconditional love and feeling so incredibly blessed. And I was talking to some friends after the service, and I thought about it, and I didn't even realize why it was happening. I was like, that's what I wanted. And it was even better than I could have ever imagined. And that spirit, that spirit like that, it doesn't cease to blow me away. And the more that I open myself to it, the more I see the miracles and the blessings in life. Now, I don't know if you noticed, I'm sure a lot of you do, but when you're going on a walk or something, you feel your heart open up. And at the same time you feel your heart open up, all of a sudden a bird soars through the sky at that exact moment. I lived by the beach when I was in Southern California, so I did a lot of walks on the beach, a lot of prayer, contemplation. And there was one time I was walking along the beach, and I was just feeling this overwhelming joy. And as I was walking, and I just felt my heart at this time just open up even more in accepting the joy that was coming into my life at that moment. And right when I felt it, and I looked out, and a fish just leaped out of the water and leaped back in. And I'm like, I know that's you, God. I know that's you. Like that is just perfect. And to those moments, as I'm going through some of the challenging parts of my life, really help carry me through, because I know that as I continue to move on my path, those moments are there all the time. It's just opening my eyes to them. And when I'm challenged, that there's blessings all over if I open my eyes to see it. And so that was kind of my manifesting story for you. And I'm sure a lot of you probably have stories about the same thing, of just how things have just come into your life. Norma, you're such an incredible example of that, and the journey to completion, and it's a blessing to watch it. And all of us, Eric and I just moved into a new home, and, I dreamed to live on the beach or in the woods. And we found this beautiful home surrounded by trees. And it was a gift from God. I know it was a part of our journey. And so a part of me and my journey of opening my heart more, I resisted it for so long, and it was hard for me. And it was scary. And I read a few amazing books that kind of helped me start getting out of my box. And one is Broken Open by Elizabeth Lesser. And some of you, I can see you've read it. It's stories about the heart breaking open, and compassion and kindness and love coming through. And some of those moments were challenging moments, but then taking that in to being a presence of love. Another one that I read was about a boy soldier in Africa called A Long Way Gone. And there was a point that I didn't want to read this book anymore because it was breaking my heart. And what this boy had gone through, his village was taken out. He was kidnapped into this army and gave drugs, killing. It was just so far from my world. I couldn't even fathom. And then there came a place in the book that I just thought it would be easier if he went on to that next place in life, and he actually is living in New York now and a happy gentleman. But in reading that book and going through it, it did break my heart, and I really had to do forgiveness work around it because it was so intense. And then as I did that, my heart opened bigger than it had ever opened before. And a part of my life's purpose is doing outreach to Africa and third world countries. And actually been to Africa, I've been blessed to go 4 different times on outreach trips. And the first time I went to Kenya, it just blew me away. And I, Michelle, thought I was going to go help them. They needed help. I'm going to go help. And I go and I meet these mamas in the village living in these huts with this fierce love and this fierce compassion and this fierce courage and this gratitude that's just overflowing that blew me away. They helped me. And Mama Jane came to be with us. And in the morning in the village, her house was the first house made out of brick. And so she went back and toured us and was so excited about this house. She had a clothesline in the outhouse, and she was so excited to show us the clothesline in the outhouse. She wanted us to take notes so we knew how to do it when we came back home, which was so awesome. And she got up at 4 in the morning before she came because she had to heat the fire so she could put the coal in her iron so she could iron her clothes because she wanted to present herself to us. And I mean, the beauty of these people is just incredible, and their faith, and so it's just a little story of kind of that broken open piece, of opening my heart, and now that being a part of my life is, I feel so incredibly blessed for it. So standing here today, I think you can tell that it hasn't been easy for me to move into those scary places. And I continue to do it because I know that out of everything that I've done in my life, and I've done a lot of self-help stuff, this shadow stuff is the most powerful. It's the deepest, it's the most profound, and there's a shift that takes place inside of me that is everlasting. So I have a quote from Rumi, and it says, "Bliss has not to be found outside against sorrow. Bliss has to be found deep, hidden behind the sorrow itself. You have to dig into your sorrowful self, and you will find a wellspring of joy." Rumi, Rumi's so good. And so I know that a lot of you can relate to what I'm talking about today because you wouldn't be here. I mean, this New Thought teaching is not fluffy and easy. It's self-responsible. We're self-responsible and we create our reality and we're empowered. And really, in looking at that, that's the work of a warrior. That's to stop and look at ourselves and take responsibility for ourselves. I don't know of any more fierce work than that. And to live day in and day out to be authentic to that is the work of a warrior. So I commend you all for being here today and to be a part of this incredible spiritual community. And with a minister like Norma, I mean, she's fierce. She doesn't just fluff things up. When I first heard her, I'm like, yeah, she went into some shadow stuff. And it takes courage. It takes courage and it takes dedication and it takes that, like Pema says, it's either, you're grounded or you're groundless, and you can move between the two. And so I really appreciate what you bring, Norma. That's beautiful. And so, let's see. So another one from Pema is, when we are willing to stay even a moment with uncomfortable energy, we gradually learn not to fear it. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to invite you, we're just going to go into a quick little silent meditation. But if you wouldn't mind just settling into your seat, this will be real quick. But close your eyes if it feels comfortable. and think about something in your life right now that you're avoiding. Aren't I fun? Or either avoiding right now, or that needs forgiveness, or that needs love. So it could be something inside of you, or it could be something in somebody in your life. So something that you're avoiding right now, or something that needs forgiveness or love right now in your life. And kind of feel into that. Now think about how you can face it or embrace it with compassion. So how can you wrap some compassion around that? Either for you, the situation, the person. And once you think about how you can wrap some compassion around it, think about how you could possibly wrap some love and forgiveness around it. And you bring light to that situation. Just take a few moments, and if it feels comfortable, wrap some light around it. Fill it with light. And that's a process that they do in Buddhism also, is to you breathe in compassion for a situation like that, or you breathe in compassion for yourself. And then you breathe it out to everybody that might have experienced something similar. So as you wrap compassion around that, think about anybody that might have experienced something similar, might be in a similar situation, and breathe that in. And send out love and compassion. And then remember to bring that love and compassion into yourself. Books, and I love her books. I mean, she has just like words like fierce compassion and what is the other one, like unconditional confidence, and this one is when things fall apart. I'm going to read a little blurb from it. There's a fundamental opportunity for happiness right within our reach, yet we usually miss it, ironically, while we are caught up in attempts to escape pain and suffering. Drawn from traditional Buddhist wisdom, Pema's radical and compassionate advice for what to do when things fall apart in our lives goes against the grain of our usual habits of expectations. There is only one approach to suffering that is of lasting benefit, Pema teaches, and that approach involves moving towards the painful situations with a friendliness and a curiosity. And I think those two words are key, with a friendliness and a curiosity. Relaxing into essential groundlessness of our entire situation. It is there, in the midst of chaos, that we can discover the truth and love that are indestructible. Whew. That's a fierceness. That's a fierceness and a beauty in it all, you know. And so this work of being a warrior takes great courage. Again, that warrior state. Great courage, a divine connection, and a supportive community, which we are so blessed for this community here, and our inner divineness. And some of the ways, you know, thinking about some of the ways to stay connected with yourself, and some of the ways that you do for yourself to feel whole, to feel joy, to feel grounded again, to feel aligned with spirit. What are some of those things? And kind of think about it, and I'll share with you some of the things that I do, because I really feel, again, the laughter and everything, but also for us to continue to walk our paths, to stay, that connection is imperative, our divine connection. And so for me, ways that I stay connected, of course, is nature. I think a lot of people can relate to that in beautiful Ashland. Meditation, gratitude, compassion for me and others, surrendering, which is another huge word. And a lot of times in my meditations, they're about surrendering to what is and accepting what is. Laughter, continuing to delve into me, eating healthy most days, and taking care of me. And what I've found with this, and balance is a big word for me. I don't know if a lot of you can relate, but it seems like it's one of those words that it's really hard to wrap your arms all the way around it. And I have come from, I was in banking for 13 years, and so I was in the corporate world, and everything was really, fast driving, and I was very career orientated, very fast driving, very compassionate. I worked my way up from a part-time drive-through teller to a vice president in banking, which was my goal. Like I want that. I want corporate decisions. I want 4 weeks vacation. I want stock options. Woohoo, I'm going to be successful. So I worked really, really hard to get there. And I also wanted to provide a life for my boys. I wanted us to be able to pay our bills and to do some of the things that we wanted to do. And then as I was on this path, and I finally got to that vice president role, and I'm sitting at my desk, and I'm looking around, and I started getting involved with the Boys and Girls Club at that time. I was on the board. I thought, oh my gosh, this is cool, but it's not it. And I thought of the quote by Stephen Covey, that I had my ladder up against the wrong wall. And I literally pictured a ladder on the banking wall, thinking, that's against the wrong wall. And once I realized that, I was really able. I actually made the transition from banking to Boys and Girls Club, and lost the stock options and the benefits and the 4 weeks and the corporate decisions, and took less money and worked in an office with 4 people crammed in one little office, and it was an incredible blessing. And eventually my abundance grew again. And so really, and thinking about, those things in life that speak to my heart, and I continue to put myself out there to try to find those things that help me stay aligned and stay true to myself, and so I can live an authentic life. And that word seems like such a simple word, but it's not that simple of a word. It's like, let go, let God, surrender, have peace. It's like, yeah, they sound easy, but those words they're deep, and there's a lot to them. And to be authentic, even to be up in front of you here today, it takes a courage and a vulnerability. Was I a little nervous? Yeah, I was a little nervous. This is my first talk after being licensed as a minister. So I did some talks in Seal Beach, but that's when I was still in ministerial studies. And so I'm really honored for you to be my first one as a licensed minister. And when I have the courage, and I continue to step into that courage and stand up here in front of you, I'm so incredibly blessed by you. So let's see, I'm going out of time. I'm close. So I just want to put into the universe. I'm so grateful for the teachers in my life, and I'm so grateful for the bridges that have been there, and in Journey to Completion, the guardians, and they're everywhere. And the more I open my heart to it, the more I see it. And my dear friend Marisa, that helped me with shadow work and held my hand all the way through it, and helped me know I wasn't that scary, and that I could really look at myself and the incredible blessings. My heart is so incredibly blessed that I wanted to continue to be that presence for people too. and how we continue to fold and be one together. And then I briefly wanted to say a little bit about being in the Journey to Completion class, because that's such a part of this talk, and that's such a part of my journey. It is, it's a wild ride. I mean, I can't even really put definition to it, but it's incredible. And to really look into myself in those areas and to get the gift of my shadow and to integrate myself in a more powerful way is incredible. Like I keep finding out more about myself, and I keep being able to love me more. I mean, I remember when I started on the spiritual journey and the whole spiritual thing came up, and I thought of religion and that I'd have to lose myself to some religion. And what I found out as I started going on the spiritual journey, that I wasn't losing myself, I was finding myself. And I'm the same with this Journey to Completion class. It's an incredible blessing, so thank you. And then I have just a couple quotes to end with. And one of the things, too, is that, back to real quick, the thinking about how you connect and how you feel whole, and what are some of those things that you do to have compassion for yourselves, that I would like to challenge all of us to make this a priority, especially this time of year, because it gets so busy and so wild and things move so fast, that we stay the course with our fierce compassion for ourselves. And that we are passionate about it, it's a priority, and we are focused on loving ourselves, which helps us love each other. And being grateful in our hearts for all that is good in our lives, and even considering being grateful for what's not. Our teachers. And there's such a beautiful gratitude service last week that really set that foundation of the gratitude for the season. And just really making that a priority, because like the Dalai Lama says, is when we find peace within ourselves and we find peace within our community and our family and the world. And so Pema, rejoicing in ordinary things is not sentimental or trite. It actually takes guts. Each time we drop our complaints and allow everyday good fortune to inspire us, we enter the warrior's world. And to end, my favorite from Pema is, you are the sky. Everything else, it's just weather.
It's called One Voice. But it's really going to be a journey from one voice into all voices, which is, again, one voice. So part of that fierce compassion, as Michelle said, especially at this time of year, is turning toward each other. The light is short, and the night's a little bit longer and colder. Gathering close. Gathering close to each other's light, each other's soul fire.
This is the song of one voice, from the spirit one voice, the sound of one makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices. sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound